Welcome to a new edition of the online course of Catia v5 Closer Answer. In this case today we are going to talk about a subject that you have asked me a lot through well doubts that you have asked, and it is always the issue of the toolbars of the commands that they find us that they do not know where they are, that where they have gone. The truth is that this is a Catia bug that tends to hide the toolbars. If you have to hide the commands, then I don't know what, since you already have an advanced knowledge of Catia workspace, not how it's distributed. We're not going to start as you see in the image of the screen for the most basic. Now I have nothing, no open part, I have not loaded any module, so we are going to start talking a little about Catia v5 modules. As many of you will already know, the Catia 5 is divided into modules. The modules are a group of commands that have a common purpose. So, for example, for the design of solids, we have a module that is the pair of saint that groups all the commands that are most frequently used for make solids. For the drafting theme is the one used to make plans, because it is a series of commands, although it also changes the interface that is used for the plan creation theme, and thus we can go much further in being able to see all the modules that you have here. I had 5 here, TV5. If you see it here on about, it's the R21. It's a cut since it's already a few years old, like 10 years or so, but it really doesn't have much difference with respect to the cut. Let's say one of the newest, like it could be LR 2017, not from a few years ago. It doesn't make that much difference. The changes tend to be more aesthetic and some detail more than the background. Not from this it works perfectly. So here we see all the modules that Catia has. There are many. I think they have more than 100, but let's see the most important. So, for example, in mechanics to signs, the most important is to stop from saint, which, as I said, is the one used for the subject of solids. This is the base and the fundamental of Catia. Here we would have the assembly module of saint that is used for the theme of assembly of components, sets of pieces. Is that this is the module that is used for the sketch. That is, now we are not going to see it either. And then we already have with welding module structural design mold. This is very important for rafting, is the one we use to make plans, as I have commented before. And we are already having more modules of sheet metal and composite molds and others. This is not that mentioned, they are the most important here. Then we have another very important module. It is the degenerative 6 of saint, which is the module that is used for the subject of surfaces, for the creation of surfaces. And here we already have other modules that, for example, the quiz surface reconstruction is used more for reverse engineering subjects, when with a 3D scanner we extract the points, a mesh of points from a position, a piece that we have scanned, and from there we create the surfaces that go through that mesh of points, and we have to reconstruct it because we use this module for classes of class, surfaces, and for other more specialized topics, not freestyle as well, and other aspects of the layout. This is machining. We also have a course for machining with Catia B5. This is for visualization of part interferences or analysis in the space of different parts, or kinematics and other topics. Let me have that very interesting electrical wiring thing too. And then we have, for example, this topic of machining, also to simulate machining machines. And here one that I have not mentioned, these catalogs, libraries that have not been mentioned. This is used more for the topic of finite elements. These are the finite element modules. So here we access the different modules. So this must be taken into account, because there are times when we are not going to find a command and it is in the right module. If we are in a saint pair and we look for a saint assembly command, we are not going to find it, so we have to change the module. The same if we are in a saint pair and we want a surfaces command, we are not going to find it, and the only way to find it is to go to start here to save and go to saint's generators. So we have to take that into account. Now we are Going to start with the workspace with the most basic fundamental that is most used. It is also part of Sign's Catia workspace a bit. So here is this little screen that what we have to give it here is the name of the piece if we want the hybrid design that. Now we are not going to mess with it, but really, unless we are very specialized in the subject, it will still put us what it does or not. That is, we are going to remove this if we want to create a geometric set that I am not going to explain exactly what it is now a geometric, but it is explained in other videos. If you have not seen it in the course, well, you can see it on YouTube in a video that I have. Put more geometric fences to the SETI and it will come out Catia V5 Castrometric Teachers. And it will come out no, but well, I'm going to tell you that you believe it and that's it, and I'll give it okay well, after a very long time, because the truth is that Catia takes a long time to load. It takes a long time, but well, it seems that it is ending little by little, so it has finally opened what is the Saint S torque module. So here the important thing is to see well, the theme of the tree of geometry, that we have the geometry tree here. We must also take into account that sometimes it is also lost. So with F3, for example, we hide it and it does not disappear and it reappears. We can also do it in view and specifications. There we can also hide it, but there are other cases in which we can also lose it. We are going to open any piece, for example, in this case now we don't have it here. Obviously, what I have done is scroll down with the tree, but there are times when we have pieces huge or assemblies or components, we have it so lost that even if we move the wheel we never get there, or we don't know if we are moving to the side. So well, this seems silly, but sometimes it is not. So there are several ways. One is with the little wheel. Well, to get to where there is another is to see this and go up to where we find it, and there is another one again, the wheel has given it. There is another good way to select any element of the piece, be it a face or a point. Then we select any element of our piece. For example, I'm going to select this face and here I'm going to give it the center grass, and then what it does is show me that element in the geometry tree. The faces, as those who have taken should already know, the closest course is part of the geometry tree. That's why they're called derivatives. That's why what it shows is path 3, it's a derivative of path 300, that's why it shows me this, no, yes. For example, at this point I don't give it center graph. Well, what shows me is the origin that is in the geometric seed of the circle 1, so this is a this point if it is part of the geometry tree, but the point is that in any element. Button rights of interest degrees we find the tree if we have lost it or found elements and we want to search for it, and then we have the inverse operation, that is, well, I have here and I don't know, I have sketch 2 here, I'm going to visualize it, here it is, and for example, I've lost my piece. What is 12 is what is 2 right button and restriction, and what it does is bring my, which is 2, brings it to me, it centers it on the screen, so that is very useful since I have already seen that topic. Another important topic of Catia of the geometry tree is that if we give without wanting to click on what is a bar of a white branch of the Zemetra tree, the piece turns black, and if we try to move the piece, we can no longer move it, and what moves us is the tree. This issue is because if we give it click there, what we do is edit the tree and we can change its position, or we can expand it just as we enlarged a piece using the same system. We enlarged it and changed it to solve this and edit the piece again. So logically the button clicks again on a white branch and it looks like that, so that too it is important. So we are going to continue seeing things. So for example, topics, here we have one of the most important toolbars of the pair of, it's called Kit's beige features. Well, that's skate operations. For example, from here we have the instruction that is from the what else is used, why do you call it, and well, we already have that. If we have other types of extrusion, the pocket is for making holes or other types of pocket. We Have what the sat is to make a revolution, the groove, which is a revolution that removes material the haul to do, well, you drill the river to sweep the slot a sweep that removes material and a solid combined a very important multi-section not to make a body that has certain sections that we are giving it and a remove multi-social that would be a material digital shading. What happens if we lose? It doesn't show up. Well, if it doesn't show up, that's the obstruction. For example, we're looking for the obstruction and it doesn't show up. It doesn't logically take away what options we have to look for it. Here sometimes they hide, not that Percy bar, others hide, so we can start taking out toolbars as we see, here we have them and let's go. For example, the knitted one, this is one that is usually used a lot at the beginning and people have a hard time finding it and it turns out that it is hidden here. What is this bar called? For someone new, they don't know what it's called, so you can't see it, you have to put it horizontally and we take it out again so that now we can see that it's called reference elements, but we see that I am going to remove all the ones that are here. This should not be done by Catia, but that's it. Then we see that it is not here. Let's say that it could have hidden here, although it is more rare for it to hide here, although it could be, but in principle they don't usually hide around. If we want to remove it, what we usually do is right-click on the bar in the sidebar and search for it. We have already seen that it was called scripts, write 6 tours, so we click on it and it reappears. That is a way to find ourselves. What happens if we lose it and we don't remember the name of the toolbar? Then we could try taking out, for example, this mellow up to here or here and taking out all that it has, a few until we find it. But another way to find, let's say that this command, for example, we look for the piece command or we look for the soft command and we can't find it, it's through the menu. All the commands of the toolbars can be accessed either through the toolbar itself or through the menu. Then we have to click insert. And here we have the toolbars or the commands, so this is where we have the paper because all the commands. Then another way to find a command, here we can find, for example, rounding variable, rounding the 6th face and angle output and other 6 surface the close and other not. What I said before, there are times that even so we are not going to find our command, and this is because it belongs to another module. Because now we are looking for an intersection. For example, we want to calculate the intersection between a plane and the body, not between a plane and a surface, so we are not going to find it here. So what do we have to do? We have to change the module and go to that module where that command is. We give it comes free from Saint. Now it is going to change all my commands, many of my commands. It is going to change them for the commands of this degenerative module 6 from signs. We wait again a bit because, well, the little program is quite slow. We know that it may be slow, but rather it is very complex and, well, it takes time to load. It is not a very powerful program, not the search sees 5. So now we see that it has already loaded. After 30 seconds, especially if it is the first time we loaded it, will take time more, and then we see that they have changed all our toolbars. We see that here I have a new one, for example, it has been maintained, but it has appeared, it is, and this one appears. These are typical toolbars of the surfaces module. I can still put them and I want to know their name. Propose them like this: horizontal and barrier, while wireframe and as is of operations. So here, for example, I was looking for intersection. Well, I have it right here. It is this command. Also the same thing has changed me this. If now I am going to insert day, the options do not appear. Saint S pair module. So here I can find all the surface module commands. So here you can search, for example, in operations, and here, well, intersection has to appear. So it doesn't seem to me here on its face. These are operations of surfaces, well, in wireframe, so it's here. As you can see, you learn all that by heart. It's quite complicated, based on practice and using the program. The best thing I'm using is the program. But it's important to know that sometimes if we don't find a command can be that we are not in the right module or that it has been lost here or that we do not have the toolbar visible, which can also be so. Here we already have, there we have other toolbars and so on. If we want something from assemblies, well, we would have to change assembly Stein and we would get assembly commands. I'm good out there. I think it has become very clear how we can find different commands, toolbars, and so on. And now to finish seeing a little what the Catia workspace is, we are going to see these here. These are more common. Here we have all this that is again open save, and this is not used much because we do it directly, that file, this theme of formulas that can also be reached through tools, formulas for the creation of formulas, design tables that you can also get there. The little plane of this one that is almost not used at all before, very striking. This, if this is to center, sometimes it happens that we lose and we want to center the piece again. Well, we can use this and center. These are movements, but generally, well, we have to move with the mouse. It's the best, just like expanding. Well, not with the mouse. In fact, I have another video out there on YouTube that teaches how to move a piece in Catia, which is not intuitive at all. You also have to learn it. This is very important. The normal view is if we want to put the view perpendicular to a face, a plane, then he selected the face and I click on it and he puts it perpendicular to me, as we have seen. This is used, for example, a lot in Skate. I'm going to enter a sketch. It's also taking a long time. Again, don't think that my computer is very slow. You are a root M in 3 fields that is very fast, but it's not like it's a computer. It's 10 years old low. Well, so here we are in the sketch, no, and for example, I turn, I lose the perpendicularity. If I want to see the sketch perpendicular again, then I just click there and it puts it perpendicular to the sketch, so it's very useful. Here we have, for a look, this is to render. If I want to render a certain view, for example, imposing the isometric or other, this is how I want to visualize the piece. For example, with material, there I get material. I don't have any material. That's why the texture doesn't appear. But here are other ways to represent the piece. The one I like the most is here. And what else? These 2 commands are used a lot. They are very necessary. They are the hidden space that if you don't know it, then I also explain it in the courses I have, but it is all that we have been using and it remains. It is not necessary anymore. Then what goes remaining hidden? Then with this we pass between the 2 spaces between the visible and the hidden. Visible, hidden, visible, hidden. And this just high show is that it's called it's soft to change, and this serves to hide things from each other. For example, this, well, I don't want it. I want to hide it because I want to see another piece, the selection, or I usually do it center graph and it selected the whole piece instead of just one, the path, and here the whole piece. All the solid, I can hide it, and if I go to my hidden space, because there it is the same as this one, I give it to integrate, I see what it is. It's not a sketch, it's supposed to be there. Sketch 1, so I can visualize it. The hidden space disappears and now I have it here. So these 2 very, very important commands. This is the command to apply material that is used to apply material. These commands are also very important. This one is used to measure, but as its name indicates, to measure between 2 elements, not to measure a length of the same element or a characteristic of the same element. But with this what I do is measure the distance. By example, between this circle, well, now it appears here, it has 1,000 options, but well, I can select 2 elements and it will take the distance, for example, there, the distance between centers, so that is used with this one that measures the and, well, it generally measures the distance between 2 elements, although it can also be used to measure the angle. We are going to do the test, so I am going to say this, and then it is measuring the distance, but it is also giving me the angle between these 2 lines. 45 degrees is very useful and very necessary, and this is also for measuring, but it already measures something with a single element. So here I selected only one node element and he tells me, for example, the length, and if he selected this instead it tells me the radius, it tells me the position of the center, and so on. So they are very important. This is also very important. It is for issues of inertia, to see weights and so on. I am not going to visualize my piece. I have given it, I have changed for example. Now it does not visualize it for me because such from today's center graph I'm going here still not visible. So here you are also usually happens, and not this is visible, this we see that they are not visible, it looks blurry. So what I have to do is make all visible, both the father and the children, and now you can see it. No. So if I, for example, click here and you selected my solid, my body, then now you are going to do an inertia analysis. Then it tells me the volume, something very useful. Also in the industry, it tells me the area, if it is selected, a better one face or otherwise, and the mass tells me the mass depends on the density depends on the material. So here it has a density as it is in 2000 because we have not given it a material, but I can change the density on the material and it gives me the mass of this piece, the position of the center of gravity, as well as inertia, moments, and so on. No. So this is very useful, this issue of rendering or others. This is to update, make an update. Sometimes this command is important. This would be for a reference system and, well, I am at the options of views of how do we want to represent the grid. That now, in theory, should put a grid, but that doesn't interest me much. And what else? Well, this is already here. If the only current body is used a lot, it is explained. I explain it in the courses, but what the only current body does is show what we have inside a body of a geometric set. For example, if I am working on this geometric set of finning circles work diet, I'm here working and I don't want to see the piece because it's getting in the way then, and I give it here, or it happens in mode, and what it does is show only what is inside the body in this case of this geometric being that they are two. This is very useful but also place in many confusion because there are times when we forget that it is marked and now we want to show the piece again and it doesn't appear anywhere. We lose it too and we go crazy looking for the piece, and it turns out that it will not appear because the only course of this orange is applied. I give him again and my piece appears, and vice versa the same if I get on my finning solid work jet and the skates are bothering me and I just want to see my solid. I give it only current body and my skates disappear, but those are that now they are not seen in the hidden space either. Know what happens that hides them from everything, from the visible of the hidden, because is the OL incurs in body. So we must always remember this command is very important, especially if we use or if we are going to work on a piece that has been sent to us or from another colleague's computer and he uses it and we don't know. Catia workspace is, we have seen quite thoroughly, there is more because, well, the space of work is all the card functions are, well, it is very large. But the main and most important thing both to start and for a medium advanced level, well, we have just seen it, not anyway. If you have any doubts, well, no, ask, it has already been done. Sent an email putting a comment on the site where you are, or else if you are on YouTube you are watching them through YouTube and want to receive more news, more videos. I'm uploading as an invention upload one every week or so. Subscribe to channel and hit the bell.